Okay, we are going to begin the South Board of Architecture Review consent agenda with item C1. Is the applicant for C1 present?
Hi, this is Jennifer Siemens. I'm here and I see that our architects Cole Hansen and Danny Longwell are here as well.
Good morning.
Sorry about that. Yes, we'll start with C1.
Danny, do you want to go ahead and pick it up where we left off?
Yeah, sure. We are returning here on for final on consent. We came in. There's two parts of the project: an existing guest house that was not properly permitted when the current owners purchased the property over a year ago. So part of the project was to bring that up to compliance and permit. We haven't made any changes on those plans that we showed you last time. And then there's a barn that is about 2,000 square foot net, 2156 gross, that we presented at the conceptual level last time. We've developed that a little bit further, addressed some comments on about sort of the arches. We had an all wood barn previously that had some kind of geometric arches on the doors that looked admittedly a little odd. I think our goal was to create a barn that felt appropriate to this kind of rural Mediterranean style. So we developed that a little more and have now there's some pretty nice renderings of that, I think, on page, keep going, not page that is full. Yeah, there you go. So we still have a little bit of arches, but it's on the stone portion of the building, and they're done at an appropriate scale and detail. And I think it fits the style of this kind of rural Mediterranean building. I think so we addressed those. We've added the materials board, lighting plan for that. And we now have a grading plan included with showing that we have less than 50 cubic yards grading for the project.
Danny, it's Josh. I think
Yeah.
based on the comments, your project's acceptable, mass bulk and scale were appropriate. Those were the last comments. Compatible with the neighborhood and architectural style were appropriate. It said return with preliminary grading plan and landscape plan. So if you just want to show us those two things, and I think we can move it forward if those are acceptable.
Yeah,
Get you through this.
sure.
Looks like a complete set of drawings.
Yeah, the grading plans. Um,
Oh, you're pulling that up too. If you have dark sky compliant notations on the drawing.
yes, we do have those. There are the lighting plans for both. The
Okay.
lighting spec sheets for both buildings show the fully shielded, sky compliant, and civil is, what page is that called, just to point them to?
The barn grading and drainage plan is on page 25, Jennifer.
Okay,
And then the lighting specifications that show dark sky compliance for the barn, that's the very last page. It's
in
just
terms of landscaping, everything's existing. You can see on the existing photos on page one, it's page 19 of the PDF. I think those are some pretty good photos of the barn area. So there's no landscape being proposed. It's very well, it's a very beautiful site, and there's no grading, and we're just kind of tying into this existing gravel, and yeah, it's pretty simple.
Okay, so I guess in regards to the requirement for a landscape plan, since you're just kind of tying into the existing conditions, we're gonna
Yeah, that's acceptable, and the landscape plan's not really required. And then I see you have an arborist report in here for the tree protection plan, so I think that covers it.
Yes.
And also see that you have a grading plan, so as far as I'm concerned, it's good to move forward, and we'll approve it at the full meeting here unless Josh has any further thoughts. Okay. I think you guys are good.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Where you going
Appreciate it.
surfing
Thank
today,
you.
Jack?
Thank you.
All right.
What's the best place to surf? Let's get that question. Who's next?
Okay, moving on to item number 2. Item C2, apologies.
Where are you surfing today?
Is the applicant for item C2 online or in person?
Hi, yes, I'm here. Good morning. My name is Morgan Kaya. I'm the agent with Flowers and Associates. I'm here on behalf of ownership. The landscape architect, Amy Blakemore, is also here this morning. Would like to thank you for your feedback at our last hearing. We did take your comments into consideration, and we did incorporate them into our next submittal that went into planning, and that was also recently approved at CA. And with that, I can quickly summarize your comments that we addressed. They were to match the existing stucco wall and stone caps on the wall, study the use of railing and consider removing, study ways to soften the wall with landscaping and potentially cutting back on the shotcrete. And then lastly was to using larger ground cover landscaping over the hydroseed. So we did incorporate those comments, first being the stucco, I'm sorry, the stone caps that were added to the plans on the structural sets. So we did include those to match the existing right-of-way wall. The railing was added to the plans after consulting with Public Works. So we are matching the railing that's already there. And so that was added to the structural set of plans. You can see that on the Praxis set. So this is the GSI set. If you, let's see, if you scroll maybe up a little bit, keep going. That's the landscaping, maybe before this one. And that's the civil. It's probably the first set before this. They didn't, looks like they didn't combine that set in there. Apologies, we had submitted the set to planning, and so they had provided these for this meeting. So I don't know why those are not in this set, but the railing was included on, there's a Praxis set of structural plans, and that was included, and that was approved at CA too, so you know. Moving forward, the landscaping items that we addressed. So you can pull up the landscaping planting plan. Sheet L2O or L1 shows, they both show it. The shotcrete was determined after consulting with the geotech and structural team. We couldn't cut back on the use of shotcrete. So we did propose plantings to, once they're fully grown in, they will drape down over the shotcrete to cover that. I believe it's jasmine that's been called out there to grow over that. And then we did propose larger ground cover landscaping in place of the hydroseed. I believe it's a lemonade berry planting, so it'll closer, it'll match the existing landscaping along that hillside a little better than the hydroseed that was previously proposed. And I believe that was everything. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
So, yeah, so Show me on the documents where we have a note regarding the stucco wall finish, matching the existing Lily Avenue. Where do I go to find that note?
So apologies, that's on the Praxis set of plans. I'm not sure why they're not included here. They should have been in this combined set.
Well, if I'm understanding correctly, you don't have anything to show us today that would ameliorate comments B and C, which is the stucco wall and stone cap, and then the railing, right? You don't have any
Yeah,
in the documents.
I apologize. Yeah, I apologize. That was, these plans were provided by planning after
I
our
know, I
hearings.
got it. So I think we have what we need on the landscape.
Jonathan, is it a possibility if they send the plan over today that we could look at it before the end of the meeting and give them
Yeah,
the approval
That's what I
required?
was gonna say too.
We're trying to facilitate getting you the approval that you need.
I believe so. If they were already attached to the ZA set, they've already been reviewed by the planner. So if we can organize that, Willow, would that be okay?
Can you, Willie, can you see if you can get those shot over to Jonathan? And once he tells us he's got them, we'll open this back up and have a look at it. I'm sure it's fine. I just want to make sure it's documented. And then the landscape looks to be, I
Yeah, the landscape is good.
think we can check off D and E, right?
Yes, yeah, the
So
landscape
just-
is acceptable.
Yeah, just get that set over here and then we'll pause and before the end of the meeting today. We'll make if we have what we need, we'll make a motion and get it completed here.
So you're looking for the set that was reviewed by the ZA?
Just need, yeah, I just
Okay.
need a set of drawings that shows any reference to the stucco wall matching the existing stucco on Lily Avenue, something regarding the stone cap, and then some kind of drawing showing your railing system.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Let us know. We'll slide it in there somehow. Okay, so that
Thank
closes,
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
That closes the consent agenda. Thank you.
We'll now bring to order the SPAR meeting of June 5th, 2026. I think first on the agenda would be if there is any public comment not related to specific items on today's agenda. And we have one public speaker, Tim Howie.
Morning. And there's a handout. If you could pass the handout around, please.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Tim Howie. I live in the Summerland Cottages for the Ocean Views. We are just above Ocean View Park with its half-glass sound wall designed to protect ocean views. Two things are important to our community: ocean views and fire risks. Following the wake-up call of the January 2025 LA wildfire, we've become one of the many new Firewise communities in the county, hence the sign, and are taking action to harden homes and reduce risk. As part of the 101 project, Caltrans planted 5 Monterey cypress trees in front of the Summerland Cottages between the 101 and Via Real. There were no trees there before. These trees represent a major fire risk and are now growing into our ocean views. These trees are highly flammable. They contain volatile oils that can ignite easily. Low-hanging branches and dry, twiggy debris inside the tree allow fire to move rapidly from the ground to the top. A key learning of the LA wildfire was the effect of embers. These trees can produce significant embers that can fly with the onshore winds in this location and start new fires, potentially damaging nearby homes. County Fire calls these trees Roman candles because they ignite easily and burn rapidly. Removal of cypress trees within 15 feet of roadways, which these are, is recommended. In our Firewise assessment, these 5 specific trees were identified as the cause of high risk by the Summerland Fire Department. I've volunteered to personally pay for these trees to be removed. Caltrans has declined, saying they were approved by SBAR and county. That would have been before the LA wildfire and before this area was upgraded to very high fire risk. Things have changed. The same state and county that okayed these highly flammable trees now wants us to take out the wooden fences between our homes. That's fine, as things needed to change. We can't carry on as before. We must reduce wildfire risks. High-risk items should remain only if they're essential. So my request is this. Please, can you take advantage of hindsight and request Caltrans and county reassess whether or not these 5 highly flammable, view-blocking trees are now essential in light of the LA wildfire learnings, the area's new high fire rating, and the offer on the table to have them removed at no expense to the county. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I would ask Jonathan, what would be the best approach? Can this come back? If it was an approval from SBAR and they want it to be looked at again, can it come back as an item to us?
I would definitely defer to Willow for that, our SBAR planner.
Yeah, so if the item was already approved, you're asking if it can come back for review?
Yeah, to acknowledge the issues that are being raised and to see about an alternative selection of a tree. I don't know, I would defer to the landscape architects. Sure.
Sorry, go ahead. Why would it need to come back? I mean, if it conflicts with, this is a high fire area? It's a designated high fire area?
Well,
I mean, it seems to me that that's like a issue that the fire department should take up with Caltrans directly. I don't know, that's,
it seems like he's getting spun around, people saying that,
Is Caltrans, they're not coming back for a review after final, so it'd be him trying to force the hand of them to come back, right? Which isn't really a process that,
well, I think it would need to come from planning. It would need to be an interaction with planning.
it's just
Yeah.
Oh, it's years ago. It's a long time.
I have a question
mean,
for
if- Yeah, if there's something that isn't matching the approved plans and some work has been done, that could be a complaint filed with enforcement, but we can't send the item back unless there's a BAR case submitted.
I have a question for the speaker, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
At the end of your pamphlet, thanks for providing this, is reference to the California Visual Code. Is that your primary concern, or what's your primary concern with these trees?
It's both the visual impact because they're going to grow very tall and the fire risk impact. So, you know, we love our homes and we don't want them burnt down by a tree that got planted by the county. I've also in that section referenced the fact that county projects have to recognize the views and not deteriorate views. And for clarity, I'm not trying to be critical of the original decision of Caltrans. I think Caltrans have done a wonderful job in our part of the project, and they've made many enhancements. So I'm certainly not criticizing Caltrans. And the landscaping plans where they would have been presented would have been for, you know, a section of a few miles long.
I guess that's where the question is, your house directly in view of these trees? Like, are you looking at these trees?
I'm looking at these trees partially. My neighbor is looking directly at them. They're within 5 trees are planted in a 50-foot length, and my neighbor's plot is directly in front of it. So their ocean view is going to diminish rapidly, and the value of their house will go down substantially. But it's the wildfire that is
You're using
very
it as
present.
reasoning, kind of, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any other plant material that can be replaced with, you know?
Yeah.
I was just saying, I think that's a really slippery slope with these trees because Caltrans has been planting different trees. I think Monterey cypress is actually a really good tree, especially for this area. But if the primary concern is a view, maybe there's some other avenue. It seems like that's the primary concern if you're looking right at it, because to your south of your house, there's a huge grove of eucalyptus trees as well. So like,
The eucalyptus tree right next.
like where do you stop?
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's kind of where's that line drawn? It's a really hard thing to do, and Caltrans spent the money for these beautiful trees that will actually become trees that hopefully come out of your I think the view part is definitely a
gonna
concern, but
It's gonna come into the view and then out of the view.
it's also blocking, it's framing views and also blocking part of your view of the 101, which, I don't know. It's just, yeah, that's just
I
my
came in
thoughts.
late, but is it a density concern? It's, there's 5 trees in 50 feet, is that? Yeah.
The eucalyptus tree was pre-existing. That's why I'm focusing on this.
Yeah, this is,
But,
it's an item, yeah, public comment, not on the agenda.
road,
Yeah.
So there's no,
Well, can this board even do anything about the trees at this point? I think. I mean, I just. Field trip.
My request was to ask for Caltrans to reassess in light of how things have changed regarding standards. So I wasn't necessarily asking for the board today to
Right.
demand.
And we wouldn't be able to do anything concrete today. But I understand that Caltrans is saying to you, well, it was approved by SBAR, so you need to go back to SBAR. And then we're saying, well, you need to go back to Caltrans. So you're going back and forth and you're not getting anywhere. But I think that probably going to planning and trying to figure out what would be a method to approach this is the way for you to go. But we appreciate that you've brought it to our attention.
Maybe the direction for the gentleman is, have you talked to your supervisor? What district is,
Is that first district?
that first district? It is, right?
Yeah,
Who's the first district? That would be,
Roy Lee.
what's that? Yeah.
Roy
Roy
Lee.
Lee, of course, but that'd probably be a good place for you to go.
Yeah, that's true, because
And
it's
he
a
should be
bigger,
accessible to
bigger item.
Thank you very much.
the
Thank you.
Thank you.
first district supervisor. Nice guy.
And that closes general public comment.
right, we will move on to the agenda status report.
Nothing to report for the agenda status report.
Okay. And reviewing the minutes from May 15th. First couple were pretty straightforward. Yeah. We were all here. We have a motion to approve the minutes from May 15th.
So moved.
We have a second? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Wasn't there, so I'm not voting.
Okay, one recused. Okay, and we'll move on to the staff update.
No staff update from me.
Okay. Did we, it looks like maybe SBAR member
there.
information is missing on the agenda, but I'll do that.
We should still do that.
Do you have any SBAR member information anyone needs to share? Any absences?
I might be absent at the next meeting, but I'll let you know.
Okay. Let me check.
And next hearing, we'll have the site visit for the Katy Perry camp.
Yes, and technically we'll call it.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Does SBAR prefer a van pool for that? We were just coordinating it. Yeah. Okay. And just to run by everyone, I think the timing will most likely be arrive here at normal time, 9:15, so that we can get out there. Y'all can get out there by 9:30, have till 10:30 and start the real hearing at 11, which is pretty different than our normal day, but it's 25. That's actually why I'm late. I was out, not at that property, but it takes a long time to get from Winchester.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, and then we'll move on to the SBAR consent agenda vote.
For the consent agenda for the item C2, we just got that sheet that we needed for the railing that was requested. Yep, absolutely.
So we're looking for the finish of the wall and the railing, correct, Josh? Oh, wait, I think I just saw the railing in that previous.
This one here.
Okay, so we see the railing on the top. Oh, and you got your cap on the top.
Zoom in on there for me, John. Anybody?
You got a continuous stone cap to
Finish to
match,
existing. What?
I guess, the neighboring wall there.
That's good.
So I think we can make the call to approve the consent agenda.
Perfect. And we will move on to approval of the SBAR consent agenda.
All right, we'll move on to the first item in the standard agenda, the Cooperstone revision. I'm just making sure.
Apologies. I think we still need to vote on the SBAR consent agenda.
Oh, sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We do have Blake Herbst.
Yep,
Is unmuted.
I'm here. Hello,
Oh, good morning. Yep, we can hear you.
good morning. We're just back. During construction, we found that the underlayment was failing on the house, so they had to replace the wood siding. And the owners thought they'd take this opportunity to,
Like, just hold for 1 second. I'll read the description. Sorry. I was just making sure you were online so you could. Okay. Item 1, Cooperstone revision, request of Blake Herbst, agent for Randy Cooperstone, here to consider for conceptual, preliminary, and final review to remove and replace the existing wood siding with stucco in a lime wash color. The previous approved BAR case was approved a proposed remodel, which consisted of exterior and structural improvements to an existing residence. The key scope included the enclosure of a 206 square foot lower level porch to create a dedicated gym space. The existing exterior shingle siding will be repainted, and associated trim will be revised and refreshed with new paint. The existing shingle roof will be replaced with new standing seam metal roof for enhanced durability and modern aesthetic. Upgrades to the outdoor living areas include the addition of tile finishes to the entry-level balcony and sun deck above, the installation of a new outdoor grill, parapet, and replacement of the existing glass railing system with steel cable railing. Additional modifications include revising the entry columns, removing the existing glass door at the entry deck, and raising the existing storage structure by 1 foot 6 inches with the new door to be installed. The following structures exist: a 2,251 square foot residence. There's no cut or fill proposed. It's a 0.14 acre parcel located at 2435 Golden Gate Avenue in the Summerlin Community Plan. Okay, you can go ahead and give us your presentation, Blake.
thank you, Kaylee. So since then, I guess you can scroll down all the way to floor plan. We'll stop there. We are adding a lower level deck right now. There's a concrete pad that's been broken up and uneven, and we're just finishing it with a wood deck that goes up to a new sauna and cold plunge. And then you can scroll down to the renderings on a 2.8. And I worked with Kiana and Valerie back and forth on how to break up the massing on the after removing the wood siding, it read as one large mass, so we decided to add stone on the atrium above. And our last project had proposed stone down along the bottom, but added it to the atrium and the outside of the stairway to help break it up. And then I showed you the existing street view where it's kind of tucked back. You really have to walk right to the edge to look down and see the whole entry down there. We had a steel trellis that was proposed that we removed altogether. And then we just cleaned up the rake and eave details to match with the stucco finish. And those are the primary changes that were made. Right here on this sheet, you can see that lower level deck. You can't see it at all. It's tucked down and in. And then this is kind of our balancing of the masses with this stone, breaking it up. We added a little bit of stone down on the bottom right on the south elevation, and then we removed some on the bottom left. And we have a square gutter detail, clean return on the stucco with no trim. And that was the major changes that we've made.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any questions from the board?
What color is the stucco?
Stucco is, I have the paint color here. We went and I worked with Valerie on the stucco color too before we came here. It's a Portola Paints Lacadro. It's kind of a light beige. I think it's A2.8 has it in the renderings. It's a little bit, I think it's a little darker than A2.8 shows. Right there. That was it. Right there. Yep. Kind of earth toned.
Any other questions?
Didn't it used to be green?
The existing wood was green, and then we were going to paint it a lighter color. I don't know exactly what the color was. I can figure it out.
Yeah, it was kind of a gray green, I guess, at
Yeah.
first. Okay, so now it's this beige.
Yeah.
A little darker, yeah. Okay.
All right, any other questions?
It's not.
And I'll just clarify for the record, this project, because it was a revision, the coordination with Val was because we weren't sure if it needed to return back. And so that's how it ended up back here. It's a little confusing. Okay, we'll close questions and move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience or online that would like to speak on this item?
We do have some people online. If you'd like to make a public comment on this item, please raise your hand in the chat. Seeing none, and we have no other letters submitted.
All right, we'll close public comment and move on to comments from the board. Let's start with Val.
Yeah, we did go back and forth on this, and I think they've done a very good job of trying to adjust the house from the wood siding and the problems that it had and all the architectural issues. It's a challenging house. And I think you've tied it all together and it looks very well done. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, Alex?
Nothing to add.
Okay, Josh?
Nothing to add.
I don't know if there's any landscape here, Robert. Anything?
I think everything was good.
There was, but the only revision is the scope of this application is just the house. Yeah.
Colors. Roof line.
Okay, nor do I. Looks like you've done a good job with the revisions. So here you are here for concept prelim and final. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion for that. As submitted.
Okay.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. Move on to item 2. The Moritz Garage Carport and Workshop request of Carla Moritz, just confirming the applicant for this one is online or in the audience. Did I read it all? I didn't see her name or,
She's on as an attendee. She has her hand raised.
oh, she has her hand raised. I'm gonna upgrade her. Okay, I'll start reading. Request of Carla Moritz, the owner of the property, here for preliminary and final approval of the as-built 157 square foot yoga room, 134 square foot shed, and 639 square foot deck and 202 square foot deck. The project also includes an as-built 242 square foot one-car garage and a 264 square foot carport with a 264 square foot workshop above the garage. The following structures exist on the parcel currently: a 1,967 square foot single family residence. The proposed project will require less than 50 cubic yards cut or fill. It's a 0.40 acre parcel located at 1451 Orange Grove Avenue in the Mission Canyon Community Plan area. There were 2 comments previously. As built proposed structures appear not to meet high fire requirements. Contact fire department to confirm development conforms to high fire safety requirements prior to returning for prelim final review, and return with additional photos and demonstrate sufficient screening. So the applicant can go ahead and address those comments. And okay, let's pull up the letters.
You want to pull up the letters right now?
We'll do that in public comment. Yeah, so the applicant can, is there a?
You have a planner memo that
All right.
attached.
The project will legalize as-built development and will abate the zoning and building violations under the case number. The applicant provided photos of the as-built structures and screening from the adjacent properties and from Orange Grove Avenue included in the hearing materials. Anything at the bottom. Final approval of the land use permit is subject to review by the planner. The rest, I believe, description. Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and give your presentation responding to those comments.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I was waiting for Willow to say something. Willow, are you there?
Yes, so typically you would go through the response to comments. I can address the fire comment. We did coordinate with the fire department and they didn't have any concerns with the development. They issued a condition letter. But yeah, the rest are just the photos if you want to describe what's in the photos.
Sure, absolutely. So, okay, here we have this is the site plan. Yeah, site plan. We have the house, which is grandfathered in, permitted. And then we have the additions at the front and the back of the property. The front would be the workshop with the stairs going up to it. And then the back left, I gotta get my glasses, sorry. Is the what is that? The yoga studio.
Jonathan, are you able to bring up the set of photos? I think it would be easier since it's as built to just go through those and describe what those are.
Okay, great. Yes, this is the front one. This is added on to the Adobe, historic Adobe it's already permitted. And this top level is the workshop. Underneath is the carport and the garage. So the upper level is the workshop area. And then the next one, this is the new deck. Can't really see it too well, but there's another picture that shows it better. Yeah. Yeah, it has hedges around it. how would you explain the deck, honey? I have my husband here too.
Hi.
Okay, so we're just looking at the deck pictures.
Sorry, I'm out of town, so okay.
And okay, that's the one. When was the other one? Okay, that's the historic adobe. That's the back of it, yeah, and that's still the adobe. That's the main structure that was there before. And this is the tree house. I mean, I'm sorry, the workshop area. I'm trying to figure out which direction this is. North, yeah, this is north elevation. And the upstairs, yeah, the downstairs is the carport underneath with the workshop upstairs. That's added on to the main structure.
Okay.
And next, and this is looking at the adobe, the one that is already permitted. And next, this is showing the back of the property where it's hedged in. It doesn't show. All that's going to fill in. And yeah, I keep going. And that's looking from, let me think, that's looking at the side of the property. So if I was standing over by the ocean area and looking at the property, that would be where I was looking. And then, yeah, keep going. So that's looking towards the yoga studio, from the back of the yoga studio at the property. And yes, this is looking from the ocean side. Yeah, so if I was standing at 1443 Orange Grove and looking at our property, 1451, that's what you would see. And then, yeah, so the same thing, if I was standing on 1443 Orange Grove, I would be seeing this from where I was standing. And this is going up the side towards the yoga studio. Yeah, that's true, what they're saying there. View of the property along Orange Grove, correct? Yeah, this is good. So yes, if I was standing on Orange Grove Avenue looking at the property, this is what you would see. The same thing, if I was standing on the road on Orange Grove and looking at the property, this is right next to that previous picture. And yes, there we have a Google Earth view of the entire property.
Okay.
And oh, that's been removed, that little thing of wood there. But this is along the property line. If I was, yeah, between 1453 and 1451 on Orange Grove. Yes, so if I was standing on Orange Grove looking up the driveway, this is what it would look like. This is the little tool shed. There's no electricity or water or anything going there. That's at the back of the property. This is the yoga studio looking at from the front. So if I was if I was standing at the front of the yoga studio, and yeah, okay, keep going. Next.
That's actually the last photo in the set. If you want to go, we can go back to the plans.
Okay. Yeah, so going from Orange Grove Avenue, the first structure there is that workshop, carport, garage area. It's upstairs, downstairs. And then, yeah, going over there, so yeah, to the left, upper left, is and you can see the tool shed we just saw. And the other shed in the back, behind the main house. And then we have the yoga studio. And that's, yeah, and then you see the driveway on the other side. Okay.
Okay. That conclude your presentation?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to questions from the board.
Yeah, I have some questions. I was reading the description on the agenda, and it says that this project has been in the county since 2016, 10 years ago, and then in 2019 and 21 and 23. Is that right? I think this is the first time we see this, or not? Or have we?
We've seen it once in recent, like once in this year or last, for conceptual review.
Okay.
Yes.
And maybe you can see it, put it on the Google Earth just to have, so we can have a better view.
Any other questions?
I was curious about the yoga room and there was a couple of structures that are completely in the rear yard. How does that work?
I can answer this
In the rear
one.
yard setback.
Yeah, so as long as they're under 12 feet and take up less than 40% of the rear yard setback, that is allowed for accessory structures.
Under 12 feet in one dimension or one direction? What, sorry, can you clarify
In
that?
height. 12 feet in height.
Oh, height.
And
Okay, so it doesn't have a square foot
the
requirement.
square footage is just 40% of the rear setback area altogether.
Okay. Any other questions? No. Okay.
I was just saying, could we, I agree that Google Earth would be really
yeah.
helpful to see the proximity of the neighbors, and there's a lot of public letters, so I just want to see what's going on. Thank you. North, okay, so plans are different north.
Didn't like my sharing.
Right. You guys okay if I move into public comment? We can back to it, just in case. Okay, so there's some letters that we'll want to put on. And I'll just clarify before we move into public comment, because I appreciate the neighbors' concerns that there might be use issues. We are an aesthetics board, so there is a neighborhood compatibility component, but it'll be around the aesthetic of the structures, not the use of them. And so if you have those concerns, please make sure you email the planner. Put the letters on. All right, so we have, I believe there were 5 with concern, focusing around use and fire, concern with parking and egress. I think it's on there for the record up there. We can go to the next one. Another with concern about the addition of the structures, that it may not be being used as single family residence, which that is what leads me to just mention to talk to the planner about use. Safety concerns with fire. Yeah. Another similar concerns. Okay. Again, similar with encroachment into the setbacks, look and scale, color scheme, and EHS concerns. All right. similar use and nighttime disturbance, parking and infrastructure concerns. Okay, I believe that was all of them.
Okay, question. Um, how about the historic status of this Adobe? It's been referred to historic
Yeah.
Adobe. What's the situation?
Let's ask Willow. Willow, is this a documented historic structure?
No, there's no known historic structures on this site.
Okay.
I have a question. When were the improvements built? Is that something we know?
I can ask my husband, he knows that. Thomas, when was the improvements done?
Well, it's on the Adobe.
Yeah, mostly on the
Itself?
main residence. Looks like the storage or the yoga studio is a little newer, but like the two-story workshop, when was that roughly? What year was that?
Oh, Honey, do you remember?
We started 2014 is when it started.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, so about 10, 12 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you have any kind of a landscape plan, and do you have exterior lighting?
We do have like how much exterior lighting?
We have motion
Documented
centers.
existing.
Lights.
Wait, what?
Any documentation if there's exterior existing lighting? Because it doesn't sound like you're proposing anything. You're just documenting as built, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the lighting fixture on, I believe it's on the yoga studio. There's a fixture to the side of the door. Yeah, if you can zoom in there.
Until finally, this is in the Hi-Fi area, right? Yeah. And how does it meet code as is, or what's the situation?
So that's where we kicked it back in concept to make sure they discussed with the fire department, and Willow, the planner, has confirmed that they got fire clearance. Yeah. Our concern from the board is that in high fire, usually there's a minimum timber size and spacing between structures, but it's
With siding with exposed wood all over the place, and that meets code? Okay.
so we're in public comment right now. Yeah. So we'll carry on with that, and then we can move on to comments from the board. Is there anyone in the audience or online that would like to speak on this item?
We have no speaker signed up so far. If anybody would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand in the chat. Looks like nobody else signed up for public comment other than the letters received.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to comments from the board. We'll start with Alex.
Yeah, I don't know where to start. It's a really not well presented project. Obviously not designed. It just kind of happened in bits and pieces. I have a hard time with it. I mean, if this project came from approval now, it would not be approved in this form. So I guess we're trying to patch up and kind of help the applicant move along. I think everybody's trying to do that, but I don't see this as a really, it doesn't meet the standards that we are supposed to uphold. That's my comment.
Okay. Val?
Yeah, I agree with that it feels haphazard, particularly the workshop carport area and the overall landscape organization of the property feels haphazard. And we're just kind of putting patches on it. And, we don't address the use, but I think the disorganization of the property is reflected in the concerns of the neighbors of, lots of cars and just a not a super well organized property in it's a dense neighborhood for high fire as it is. So it's not good.
Josh?
Yeah, I don't have anything further to add than what's already been said.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with most of the board members' comments about it probably not being approved if it came today. I kind of come from it from a slightly different angle. I think, the county is really pushing ADUs and alternative living situations on properties, and we kind of are here today kind of with what we have. So I don't think it necessarily, it's a white board and batten finished, looks like workshop. I think the neighbors' concerns are predominantly with the Airbnb use, it looks like, which I know there's channels, as Chair Grubb mentioned, to voice those concerns with the county. And I know there's really hefty fines for illegal situations like that. So I would encourage the neighbors to follow that route. But I think I support approving some form of this plan to kind of this as-built condition to go forward along the lines of, hopefully these tenants or the owners open to a long-term rental situation potentially for this addition rather than a short-term. I know we don't have control over that, but that's kind of where I would stand on this project, and just ensuring that there's screening. I think a landscape plan clearly showing screening around the property lines, which it's not really clear in this situation. So that's my opinion.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So we don't have any public comment on this today?
Just the letters.
So can we identify what the concern is real quickly? Can somebody summarize that for me? Or
Yeah, we went through them all. It was mainly fire, egress, and parking, aesthetic concerns, EHS on one of them, aesthetics and compatibility, like aesthetic compatibility with the neighborhood.
Well,
Are there any others that I missed?
Yeah, okay. So I think this is a case where the applicant, and this is not a criticism, just a reality, doesn't have any professional representation. And so I'm assured that most of this stuff can get resolved and improved, but it needs to just get documented properly and presented in a way that's cogent. So I'm trying to look for an opportunity to do that without, if the applicant doesn't want to hire professional representation, then perhaps Willow, is there a planner assigned to this project?
Still me at this point.
Okay, well, I don't usually do this, but just in this case, I would volunteer myself to meet at the counter at the county with you and the applicant and help them understand a kind of diagram, a kind of conversation about how to present an application so we can cover all the items that are on the list of concerns so that they can come back, put that in front of this board and have a conversation for an approval.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just showing a really cohesive plan that could convince the board. I think
looking at me like, what? Really? But yeah, I'm sorry.
Cohesive plan that.
Yeah, I mean, in the past,
that
this kind of worked with applicants back and forth in this setting, but it's very time consuming and frustrating for everybody. So I think with just some basic advisement, perhaps we could do that.
Absolutely. We're both
Absolutely,
open
thank you.
to all your comments. Thank you.
I think it needs some professional help. I mean, in terms of drafting, I mean, it's just drafting the plan, so it's understandable,
If you draft up what's here existing, is the board ready to support that? Or is there
That's
more
what I was gonna
comments
say.
about what needs to happen?
Yeah, my comment would be that I think that's super generous, and I think that would be really valuable to the applicant. And I also think when this project comes back, it needs to be documented with that advice, and then also with certain improvements that will make it meet the neighborhood compatibility.
And for the record, I will never do this again for anybody.
He has not opened the door.
Nickel services, but
Okay.
also,
Thank you so much.
and look, I mean, if you can, it's a choice. I think my strongest recommendation is that you reach out to the AIA chapter or just make a search of a local. There's plenty of local architects and designers who could easily handle this for you reasonably and get you through this quickly. So if you know, I would encourage you to hire professional help because you're clearly at a disadvantage here, but you don't have to. And I'd hate to see you have to drag this out. So you have a choice.
Okay.
No, we'll do that. We'll do that.
Willow, just reach out to me by email, and if there's a idea, if there's a plan to do that, just we'll take it offline and see if we can help them shape an application.
I have a specific question about the parking there that's on the street in the photo. Doesn't seem to match it. You have on there dimensions indicating you could park, go to page 14 in the photos. I mean, I don't see a car fitting in that. Is that the same space you're indicating as a parking spot?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to make a comment that you accurately indicate the size of the wall and the space there along the right of way, because it doesn't appear from the photograph that an 8.5 by 16.5 foot vehicle can fit into that space. And so I think that's part of what Josh is offering here. It's that, you know, the site plan needs to be prepared accurately with some type of appropriate dimensions for everything. You know, we don't just put stuff on plans to satisfy what's required. It's also not permeable material. So these kind of details are just, they need to be addressed properly in the plan set.
Okay. Do you have I've been trying to look for an architect, someone to help me. And
Right.
yeah.
I'm so sorry. So if we could get the commissioner comments, and we might be able to give you a minute at the end for
Okay.
questions.
Yep. All right. So I think that does complete all the comments. And I think asking for an architect, I think that's what may come out of your conversation with the planner, and Josh so generously offered to help consult with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So this item will need to return for prelim final when it comes back.
Right, so we have more accurate drawings and some solutions to the aesthetic problems that are very obvious, right? Okay.
I mean, I think you kind of missed the big comment, which is that the structures don't fit at all with the existing Adobe. I mean, that to me, at least, it seems like you have the Adobe looks like a beautiful home that kind of has been marred by the things that have been added to it. I would encourage you, if you're going to document what's existing there, maybe you could also consider how you kind of integrate the features. But architecturally, it reads cohesively and not like a tacked on feature.
Understood.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item 3, the Simpson Garage. It's the applicant for item 3 on. Request of Architecture JA Inc. for Ken Simpson and Joanne Slattery, here for further conceptual and prelim review of a new 1,012 square foot detached garage and other landscape and hardscape improvements. 285 square foot sheds will be removed. Existing development to remain includes a 1,438 square foot single family dwelling, an 80 square foot shed and a 90 square foot shed. The proposed project will require 200 cubic yards of cut and 211 fill with net soil imported of 11 cubic yards. It's a 1 acre parcel located at 905 San Antonio Creek Road. And it's been here before, so I'll read the comments. The board is concerned with compatibility and scale of prefab building with existing neighborhood. Study metal siding that is more residential in character and less industrial. Consider a flat paint finish rather than gloss. Building appears industrial in a residential neighborhood. Study the site planning and layout of structure in relationship to the street. Consider facing the garage door away from the street and screening with vegetation. Use plantings to soften structure and flat work. Driveway from street to garage presents too much concrete. Consider hammerhead driveway shape to allow additional landscape screening in front of structure. Board recommends applicant work with landscape professional to use landscaping to integrate new structure into overall site plan. As proposed, planting is very tight against the structure, and colors are appropriate. All right, you can go ahead and state your name and respond to the comments.
Thank you. I'm Dan Johnston with Architecture JA. And I'm going to walk up to the screen to.
We have a microphone that you can carry around so we can still hear you online. There.
It's working. So the previous submittal was putting the garage down in this area down here, and it was a fairly large structure, and it did kind of stand out as you went down this driveway. But to start with, I'll just give you sort of the general layout. This is San Antonio Creek Road. This is a private driveway. It serves 2 homes. Adjacent to the property, there's a 2-story house here with a garage in front, with the doors on the side. And then there's a 2-story house here with a garage at this end. The Simpson property is this L shape. It's roughly an acre, and about 75% of it is open. There's some smallish trees scattered around. There's a lot of just grasses and so on that basically turn straw color in the summer and are green in the winter. The idea is to put the garage, this is the existing house. The idea is to put the garage now along San Antonio Creek Road, which kind of mirrors a lot of other houses along the road that have garages. This whole area of the road is sort of an older development. It comes down at the south end to near Tucker's Grove Park, and they blocked the road off a number of years ago. And so it dead ends down near Tucker's Grove. But everything down in this area is older development. There's a lot of newer development to the west up here and to the north, but this street in particular is sort of an older street. The positioning of the garage is convenient because it works with the topography up in this corner. It's going to be a 3-car garage with basically an 18-foot wide driveway apron. The driveway and the turning maneuvering space will be concrete, but everything else you see around here is hardscape, is actually pervious, so it'll be pavers. There is going to be a little bit of grading to create a more level area right in here for use areas. And there's outdoor patios with a fire pit. There's a trellis, it's a 9-foot high trellis with pavers underneath. So it gives them some shaded areas to use outside as well as some exposed areas. There's landscaping around all the buildings on 2 sides of the garage, and there's an existing hedge along the property lines here. There's an existing hedge out front, which will be modified so that the new driveway breaks through it and it gets filled in where the existing driveway is. And there's also an 8-foot fence all the way along this side of the private road. And Ken Simpson's going to be adding an 8-foot fence along his side as well, so that the private road will be sort of an alleyway. Let's see, where are we on this thing? Let's move to AR7 if we could, which is a rendering. Okay, so this is the existing house. This is the proposed garage, the trellis, the fire pit, sort of the open areas. Both buildings are short. They're both about 13 feet in height. The existing house is a raised floor, and so it's got a 2.5-foot crawl space underneath. The garage at grade is a little bit higher than the existing house, but overall the floor elevations are similar. And so the total height of the buildings are both about 13 feet. And as I said, the trellis is 9 feet. There's currently a 9-foot hedge. Let me back up. The ground slopes to the south slightly and also to the east. And so this house has views from upstairs, bedrooms and so on, across the property and toward the ocean. But with a 9-foot hedge that's existing along the property line, the house has no views from the living level down below. And so the garage is really, of this house, is what's kind of behind the addition of the garage at the Simpson property. And so the views and so on from the 2-story element here will not be affected by the additions. This rendering doesn't show this house very accurately. It shows the massing, right, but not the windows and or the colors and so on. It seems like with the various landscaping to soften the buildings, the hedges that are existing and proposed, is using stonework for retaining walls and so on, that it's really very simple architecture, but it's something that matches a lot of what's in the neighborhood.
Great, thank you. We'll move on to questions from the whole board, but I was wondering, is there a landscape plan included? I saw the civil.
Pardon me?
Is there a landscape plan included? Or have you engaged with the landscape?
There is a landscape architect, but we don't have the landscape plans at this point.
Okay, sounds good. Any other questions from the board?
Yes, what's on the back of the garage? It's a 1,200 square foot garage, it's 3 cars, which would be 600. What's are you parking 6 cars in there? How does it work?
No, it's a slightly oversized garage. It's bigger than like 20 by 30, but it's it's 1 car deep basically, and there's a little work shed in the back. And if we look at I think sheet AR1, no, AR5 should be the floor plan. Well, let's find the floor plan. I don't know exactly what sheet number it is. There it is. You can see on the back of the garage, there's a 12 by 16 foot area roughly.
So
that's just a workshop.
How deep is that garage? I cannot see it. That's more than 20 feet, right? Like 30 feet? What is it? Just wondering, yeah.
I can't read it from on that screen, but it's. Ken, do you remember the exact dimensions of the garage?
See, but
I don't think it's 1,200 square feet. It says 740. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and the roof is different now, right? Is that? Oh,
yeah, it's completely different.
Oh, okay.
It's 745 square feet.
Okay. Now I get it. Thank you. It's just I was.
Plus the shed. Okay. Yeah.
I had a question. I'm just interested to hear how it evolved to change the location, to put it next to San Antonio Creek Road rather than where it was before, along the private drive.
Well, I think there was input from this board that suggested that it was imposing down there. It was, it's sort of an open area and
taller, right?
Yeah, it was taller. It had some cupolas. It had a steeper roof. It was sort of a different structure, but I think Ken just felt that it would just be simpler to move it up front and try to keep the back part of the property open.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I just had one question for the driveway that connects to that looks like an easement or the shared driveway in front of the existing house. How does that use? You're pulling into the driveway day to day or to the garage. Is that like a guest parking area, or why would you ever drive to that existing driveway?
It just provides flexibility and guest parking. Yeah.
Okay.
And currently there is no garage, so the car is parked just to the north side of the existing house, and there is a current connection to the shared driveway. And
Right.
so they come in off San Antonio Creek Road.
It's like a roundabout.
Turn to the south and loop back. And so we're maintaining that, but it's going to be pervious instead of impervious.
Okay.
In that area.
Can the cars back out onto San Antonio, or they have to be able to turn around before, right?
Would you mind, sorry, sir, if you're going to respond to comments, would you mind coming up here?
We just have to have the voice so that it
Just because
catches on the
your comments aren't going on the record with that, and the planner who hears it, it helps her too.
Any of these mics, if you press the button and they turn green, then you can speak into them. Yeah.
Currently, we back in because there are bicyclists that come down at 35 miles an hour here. having fun. So we tend to not want to hit them. So I back in and I'll probably do the same thing, but there'll be room in order to pull straight in and back out for my wife. So she'll do it that way and I'll back in. Correct.
Right, any other questions from the board? Nope. Okay, we'll move on to public comment. There was one letter in support of the project, and so we can put that on the screen. And then is there anyone online or in the audience?
If anybody would like to make a public comment on this item, please raise your hand in the chat. We have nobody signed up for public comment and I see no hands raised. Let me put the letter in support on the screen.
Okay. One letter. Felt like it would be a good addition to the neighborhood. All right, and we'll close public comment and move on to comments from the board. Josh, gone. We'll start with Val.
Well, it seems fine. You've organized the site a little bit and made some nice outdoor areas. The facade is simple, so I think it's fine. It's interesting to have a property that big and use so little of it, but it's fine.
Here.
Yeah, I agree. It looks fine to me. My only comment was, you know, the driveway situation looks a little interesting. I think it maybe could be modified a little bit now that you have a proper garage. I was thinking that maybe you could add some more planting in front of the house. If you go to the, maybe Jonathan, could you pull up the street view? Thank you. It's just really exposed with hardscape around it. It's pretty harsh. I don't know if it was me, I'd want a little bit more landscape around the main residence, but if that's at all a possibility, I would potentially disconnect that driveway to the shared driveway and make that more of like a guest parking area and a place that you can back out, since you will have a pretty wide driveway now, but just something to consider, I think. But otherwise, I think it's a nice project.
All right, Alex, I thought you had stepped away because I couldn't see you down there. Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to add. I'd like to see the landscape plan. It seems like it's going in the right direction.
Robert.
Yeah, I was going to agree with what Kier was saying, that I think with the way that the garage presents itself, it seems like it kind of faces right towards it, or does, it faces right towards the street. So anything you can do to implement planting between the street and the garage is going to help to kind of soften that, and probably get you some privacy. So I encourage studying that as much as possible. I'm not really clear from these photos which is a view like would be looking at where the face of the garage would be.
It's going to be behind a hedge. I don't know if there is a photo
So
or not.
like if you build that garage
it's right here.
now, is it going to be completely concealed? Oh, it's going to be behind that. Okay. All right, well, yeah, I would say just make sure you're satisfied and the board's gonna be satisfied with the landscape screening and how that faces the street. I think that's an important piece of it.
I think, yeah, trees will go a long way if you could integrate maybe a couple of trees in front of the garage potentially, or even the main house.
I mean, your hedge
break
kind of
up
has
the mass.
holes in it, as you can see there, so maybe layer in some other planting might help you. Trees. So.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I look forward to seeing the landscape plan. I think the structure, siting, and mass bulk and scale seem acceptable and compatible. So it's just looking at your final site planning and landscape plan when you come back.
Okay.
So you're here for further conceptual preliminary review. Does the board feel like we can take a motion on preliminary, anticipating a full landscape plan when they come back? Anyone want to make a motion?
Make one. I'll make a motion for this project to receive preliminary review or preliminary approval today and to come back for final full board.
Okay.
Plan.
There's a landscape plan.
The landscape plan and details.
You have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Mhm. All right. Lost my, okay. All right, item 4, request of Argishi Avesyan, agent for the owner of David Nguyen, here for preliminary and final review of the demolition of an unpermitted covered patio on the first floor, demolition of a replacement of an existing 2-car garage, construction of a 310 square foot living room and bathroom addition. 74 square foot addition to the garage, 122 square foot addition to the master bedroom, and 747 square foot ADU second floor addition, including a 243 square foot second balcony. Project requires less than 50 cubic yards cut or fill. 1 orange tree and 1 deciduous fruit tree are proposed for removal. Following structures exist on the parcel: 1,500 square foot residence. The property is 0.14 acres. Oops. And it's located at 641 San Felipe Drive in the Eastern Goleta Valley area. It had previous comments, so I'll go ahead and read those. Architectural style, mass, book, and scale is appropriate. Project is compatible with adjacent development. Return with landscape and hardscape plan that incorporates planting in the front yard. Restudy second story deck, siding materials to consider solid wall, and potentially also landscaping to protect privacy between neighbors. Board suggests breaking up unbroken 2-story wall with landscaping and other design feature. Return with materials board. Okay. The applicant.
I do believe we have the applicant online.
Okay, you can go ahead and give us your state your name and give us your presentation responding to those comments specifically.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful. Hi, my name is Adam. I'm speaking on behalf of Argi. I is a colleague of mine, but I am here as the applicant for 641 San Felipe. Good morning, everybody. We are here for the final approval, hopefully, for this review. Based on the last comments, it was mainly for all of the landscaping plans, more in-depth kind of. So we are we have more in-depth landscape plans on page 4, which is A2.2. We are being native conscious to drought tolerant plants to Goleta Valley like manzanitas, coyote brush, California sagebrush, and new citrus trees in the backyard, the mandarin orange and Meyer lemon tree. And these are in place to improve the landscape aesthetic of the entire place and improve a little bit of privacy, making the property look a little bit more aesthetic based on these landscape plans. That is all that I have for you guys. I'm here for questions or comments based on the updated plans.
Did you have a materials board provided?
1 second.
I'll go through each one. Did you see a materials board in there, Jonathan?
Boom. Sorry, bear with me. I'm looking through here.
Nope, see one in there.
It might be a separate document because I'm also not seeing the materials board in this preliminary set either.
Kiana, are you online? Are you able to
Hi,
see in the
yes,
big?
I'm online.
Hi, Kiana. Are you able to see in your end if there is a materials board that was submitted and might not have made it in our folder?
Yeah, let me check.
Thanks. while they're looking for that. One of the comments was restudy second story deck siding materials to consider solid wall and potentially also landscape to provide protect privacy between neighbors. Is there a certain sheet or elevation that we can see that address that comment?
Yes, give me 1 second here.
It looks like elevations start on sheet 12. And so I don't recall which elevation that was that, let's see, second story deck siding materials for solid wall. Oh, I think it's the element of the kind of floating staircase, or it doesn't return to grade.
I don't see a materials board on my end. This was the only plan set that was submitted.
That was the only one. Okay, thanks, Kiana.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to, let me see if there were any other comments that we had questions on. All right, let's move on to questions from the board. Do you guys have a question?
The balcony, right? There's a balcony on top of the front on the left side or on the right side of the bottom elevation, right? That's a balcony.
On the left side?
It's a roof. It's just a roof. Okay, so
Yeah, just the roof.
I see a 243 square foot second floor balcony. Where is that?
I think that might just be the.
No, that's a landing. That's just a landing.
Because 200 would be 10 by 20.
Where is the balcony?
Should be no balcony other than the landing for the staircase in the backyard.
Which is like
the description, the project description includes so that is correct. So we eliminate the 243 square foot balcony, right? Correct?
Correct.
Yeah, very good. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Sorry, to go back to Kiana, are you aware of any exterior balcony that we are not seeing on the plans?
No, I'm a little confused on what exterior balcony we're referring to.
It's just in the project description, and since it's here for preliminary and final, we just wanted to make sure we know what scope.
Oh, okay. Let me take another look.
All right, any other questions from the board while we?
Yeah, what's the screening along the side yard proposed? Landscaping to protect privacy between neighbors.
1 second here.
Good landscaping.
It appears to be like a combination of coyote brush, island mountain mahogany. Some existing shrubs are already there in the landscape that will be retained, and a new manzanita towards the near side, like rear portion of the property.
Valerie, you're referring to probably the north and east property lines, right, between the house and the fence. And it looks like on the west side, it's existing lawn to remain in that little 2-foot strip there. And then on the other side, it's gravel. Is that correct?
Go ahead, Kiana.
Yeah, so the second floor balcony that was in the description was referring to it, a balcony for the proposed second story ADU, but that has been removed from the project scope. Yeah, because the ADU was submitted separately for a building permit, so that's no longer part of the project.
Great, thanks for confirming. Okay, any other questions from the board? Clarifying our comments on landscape. Other questions?
Yeah, I guess the question is, what are the colors of the building? Is it like a white plaster? Is that what it is? some kind of an off-white or what? Is it bright pink? I mean, what exactly is it?
Forgive me. I don't think it specifies in the plans any specific color, but it'll be like we're doing like a Santa Barbara style palette, like a stucco. So it'd be like a warm off-white, can maybe like a light cream kind of color, beige.
Mhm. And just regular shingles, right? Gray shingles, is that it?
Let me see, on the roof. Do you know the type of roof?
Yes.
Asphalt shingles, right? Great asphalt shingles. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Mike, I think this is ready for preliminary. It should come back for final with a landscape plan that addresses, that provides some real trees. I mean, we have minor little a lemon tree here and a little plant over there, but a couple of good trees would make sense to me.
Yeah. Okay, let me open public comment. It's okay. There's no letters. Is there anyone online?
We do have one person online. If anybody would like to make a public comment on this item, please raise your hand in the chat. Seeing none, and we have no letters submitted for this item.
Okay, we can close public comment and we'll move on to comments from the board. Go ahead, Alex.
That was my comment. Yeah, so I think it's fine for preliminary. Come back with a more description, a color board, light material, lighting fixtures, exterior lighting fixtures, and I think it needs a more robust landscape plan. Just to some trees that creates something more suitable for the neighborhood.
Sounds good. Just for the record, there is a exterior light fixture, like an architectural fixture. There's just no landscape lighting shown. All right, Val.
Yeah, I agree with that. The landscape plan needs more development and screening along the east side in particular, where the two-story is very close to the property line. The driveway seems very wide, so I'm curious what's going on there and how that might be made more aesthetic adjacent to the garage. Oh. And then a color and material board should come back also. Okay.
Josh? Okay.
No further.
I don't have much of a landscape plan, so if either of you.
Yeah, I think that the landscape plan should encompass the entire front yard. I don't think it's appropriate to expect to retain existing landscaping when you're going to be putting in a whole new portion of the structure there. So I think the entire front yard and that interior, or I guess it's like the access right through the middle of the building there. That space really needs study. That's the entry to the home, and the screening needs to be added on as well.
Yeah, I agree with those comments. I think to the point, like existing lawn to remain, it's really hard to call what you guys have there lawn. It looks like a lot of weeds and things, and to the point about construction damaging pretty much all of the front yard, likely in a big portion of the backyard. Just a landscape plan encompassing that. It's going to be, again, it doesn't have to be extremely special. It's just, it needs to be cleaned up and cohesive, because this is really the only opportunity the neighbors have to clean up the front yard and things and just kind of improve the neighborhood. And then agreed on the side yard property lines, some type of hedge potentially, or vine with trellis. I know it's a little tight there, but looking at that cohesively, I'd encourage you to get a landscape designer on board. Thanks.
I have one question here for the planner. Can you tell me, with the curb cut being that dimension, is it allowable to have that wide of a driveway that isn't completely accessible from the curb cut?
Kiana had to hop off for another meeting, but I can look if it's already been reviewed by Public Works Transportation.
I would just check to make sure that that's an allowable condition. It seems odd. A really wide driveway that's not accessible from the street.
Okay, I'll pass that along to her. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So do we have does someone want to make a preliminary motion with those comments? Or it can continue.
I will make the preliminary motion for approval with the comments made already. Yeah, including the revision of the driveway and the driveway cut.
Mm.
Mhm.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
And it can return on consent if all materials are provided, because there will be landscape review. Okay. All right, moving on to item 5. Can we take a 2-minute recess?
We're going to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back at 10:43.
All right, we can move on to item 5. The Van Eldren new single-family dwelling. Get the plans up. Okay. Request of Chris Cottrell, architect for the owner, Corey and Lindsay Van Eldren, here for conceptual review of a request of a new single-family residence of 4,189 square feet with attached garage of approximately 551 square feet, pool equipment, HVAC condensers, and outdoor kitchen. The following structures exist on the parcel. The parcel is vacant. The project will require 1,950 cubic yards of fill, 500 cut, it's a 0.78 acre parcel located on an unaddressed parcel so far on Camino Andaluz, located in the Eastern Goleta Valley Community Plan area. You can go ahead and state your name and give us your presentation.
Thank you, Chris Cottrell, architect. And just like the last project, the project description was the original submittal, and things have changed.
Okay.
So for the better. I'll just give a quick overview of what's different. We shrunk the house by 400 square feet, so that's a 10% reduction. Grading has greatly changed. It was 500 cubic yards cut, it's 360 now. It was 1950 fill. It is 10. So massive reduction on that end. So the net grading went from 1450 to minus 350. So
okay,
hold that down, and no pool. It's a, let's see. Yeah, it's an existing lot in a development that was done in the 60s, and it was one of the few that hasn't been developed yet. The Van Eldrins bought it in 2018 when their youngest was 3. Now they're hoping to build it before they go off to college. The building pad on this was built by, as they did this, the site work, they just pushed a bunch of fill to make the building pad. So they've got 12, plus or minus 12 feet of, 19 feet of fill. Yeah, of bad fill to deal with. So just a quick history of how we got here. We submitted a year and a half ago for our LUP, and then worked with the planners and the neighbors to push this back, reduce the size, reduce the grading, and got to where we are today. So there's already been quite a bit of back and forth with planning to push this off the slope and onto the building pad. Maybe if you could go to the cover sheet, then that'd be great. Okay, so yeah, that'd be great. While you're looking that up, I can just start my spiel. It is so from the street side, it's a single story. It presents as a single story house, and then we just dug into the hillside to make that the lower story. Wow. There you go. Yeah, so there you can see the 2 oak trees on the site, and the neighbor to the left there, that's a 2-story house. You can't really see the right. Can't really see the topo on this. Unless you want, can you take it in 3D, Jonathan, to just to see? There you go. The slope falls down to the backyard. Great. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so just the renderings. This is a front yard shot, conceptual rendering, and then a shot from that side yard, sort of west, southwest looking, so you can see where the 2-story pops out. Maybe we can just flip through the plans, Jonathan. Thank you. There's some photos of the existing site and neighborhood houses. It's a mix up there of styles and sizes. Site plan. Keep rolling. This is actually interesting. It's this is the hose pole plan, just showing where the fire hydrant is. But it gives you a little view of sort of where it is in the streets, maybe a little bit finer than the Google Earth, and shows you the massing of the houses. Yeah, maybe we can just look at the first floor plan. is it just a big file bogging it down? Okay, first floor plan's got driving garage. You want to just go to the next sheet. Civil you don't need. We'll come back for landscape. I'll just walk you through the house, then Katie can walk you through landscape. This is the basement plan. Maybe we could start with the next page, Jonathan. Thank you. There's the garage, nice standard house layout. The stair is on the north side, and that takes you downstairs into the basement. It's a daylit basement. They've got a deck on the back. It's a vaulted great room. Maybe you could go to the basement real quick, and then we'll look at the elevations. Great. So you can see the north side of that. It's storage under there. There's obviously no windows. It's all below grade. So the grade pops out. Let's see, just that, so the bedrooms can actually get access to egress. Okay, and then maybe we'll look at elevations. Roof plan. All right. So the top one, that's the street elevation. The bottom one, I think, is showing you where the existing grade is and how we just are carving out just to get egress for those 2 bedrooms down there. Next page. Okay, top is west elevation, bottom is south, and Jonathan, do you mind highlighting the bottom one? Just I want to show you where the grade actually is. So halfway up to that lower door, that's the berm of the grade behind you. So this elevation never happens. You're like, this is actually tucked in a little pocket. So that dashed line there is where the berm is. I think that is it on my end. Katie, you want to jump in?
Sure. If you could start at the civil plan. Katie Klein, RM Design Group, landscape architect on the project. So if you could go one before, I just want to point out the grading, if you zoom in, the limit of grading in the back, just so you get a better picture from the grades where the limit of work is, where it's flat and then it's sloping back down. You can see there. If you want to go to the next sheet, it's our tree protection plan. There's quite a few oaks to the south we're protecting, and we're not really grading at all down below. At the front of the property, there's a magnolia that is 9 inches we're removing, and a 6-inch pepper tree. And then there's some existing hedging on the west that we're removing and replacing. So here's our preliminary landscape plan. We're adding 4 new olive trees, 3 new cercis trees, and 2 new fruit trees. The green is just general planting right now. We haven't done a planting plan. We have a palette shown. It's all low water Mediterranean. And then the darker green is more slope stability planting to be determined. You can see our palette of materials on the right. So the driveway will be concrete. We have a turnaround area that will be gravel. We have DG on the side access to the trash. And then all the entrances and patios that will be mainly used will be some sort of enhanced stone. And then we're only proposing just path lighting at this time. And then if you go to the next sheet, or quickly, sorry, can you return back? I want to point out that we're doing ficus hedging at the property line of the west and the east. And we'll be doing on the west side 5-foot high solid wood fencing, and then on the east side there's existing chain link and steel fencing currently, but we'll be providing hedging for screening on all those property lines, and then the retaining walls will be plaster white. If you want to go to the next sheet, it's just our water use. You can see we're way under. We don't show any lawn at this point, so all low water or very low water. If you go to the next sheet, it's just our fuel modification plan. So you can see we've already started analyzing where the trees go and trying to meet those fire standards. That's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. All right, we'll move on to questions from the board. Pretty straightforward. Anybody have anything? Okay, there were a couple public comment letters and we have one speaker slip. Is there anyone else online or in the audience? You can go ahead and submit a speaker slip to Jonathan,
In the corner
if you have not already.
or in the back corner over there.
Up on that table in the back, you can fill one out and then bring it to Jonathan. All right, we'll start with Steve Ferry. All right, you can go ahead and state your name and you'll have 3 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Steve Ferry. I'm a 43-year resident of Camino Galeana in Rancho del Ciervo in Santa Barbara County. I have concerns about this development that is proposed on the hill above my home. I have submitted a comment letter to the SBAR. This development was first brought to the attention of the neighbors on my street a few years ago. Since then, the development has been scaled back somewhat, reducing the square footage of the house and eliminating the swimming pool. While I appreciate that the project has been scaled back, I still have concerns about it. Development in Rancho del Ciervo is governed by its CC&Rs. I understand that the county does not enforce CC&Rs. However, I believe that the county should consider the desires of the residents as stated in the CC&Rs, and should view the CC&Rs as guidance for making decisions about how the subject property is developed. This will ensure that the development is compatible with the local neighborhood. The size of the proposed structure is a major concern. The house would be 33,782 square feet, according to the document I saw online, which is much larger than most of the homes in the immediate vicinity, which are around 2,500 to 3,000 square feet. In addition, the height of the proposed house on the south side is 27 feet 9 inches. This far exceeds the height limit in the CC&Rs, which is 15 feet. The building, as viewed from the properties on Camino Galeana below, will look like a massive fortress up on a hill. The proposed house will loom over the backyards of the neighbors on Camino Galeana. Drainage is another major concern. The plans show that drainage will exit out of the southeast corner of the proposed project. The water will be routed through a drainage easement on the east side of the project. This easement runs downhill and continues along the east side of my property. I'm concerned that the project drainage must be properly designed to prevent flooding of my property. Currently, the lot is undeveloped. Rainfall falls on the soil and much of it is absorbed. But when the new impermeable structures are built, there will be much more water flowing downhill than there is now. What happens in an atmospheric rain event like we've had the last 2 years? Is the capacity of that drainage sufficient to handle a 100-year storm? I hope that the county will carefully analyze the project's drainage system and ensure that it is sufficient. Grading. I believe that the grading for this project is excessive. Again, there are different numbers in the different documents that I saw and what's presented here, but what I saw said 1,400 cubic yards of cut and 100 cubic yards of fill. That's a massive amount of dirt. The CC&Rs allow only fine grading for landscaping purposes.
Okay, that was your time limit.
I'm sorry. Okay, I have many other concerns which are less than the ones I already stated, and those are in the letter that I submitted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll call it Jean-Wen Su.
Yeah, my name is Jianwen Su, and I live, and my wife and I live in right adjacent neighbor. It's 1165, and I'm also a professor at UCSB engineering, and I have some technical details. I focus on details as an engineer. I have two pieces of concerns. Number one, property line. And there was a property line drawn and marked, and we have reasonable doubt. I'll give you evidence. And we had some discussions with Mr. Van Aderen, and no agreement, nothing, no process set forward to settle that. So now I'll give you two pieces of evidence. One is the line was very close to my garage. And Mr. Van Aderen once actually showed me, put the pools marking the property line, and show me how he measured that. And property line is one line, and my corner of the garage is at one point. The distance between a point and line is you draw a perpendicular line to that, and that's the distance definition. But his approach was, there is a slope, there is an angle to that. I estimate about 60 degrees angle. So it's not a proper measurement. According to CCNR, there should be a 10 feet setback. So this is not accurate measurement. That's number one. Number two, there was also a property line. And if you look at that, the property line cut through the tree, the roots of the trees. And that doesn't seem to be appropriate because, well, the house was built was 1963, and also probably the trees were planted there. It's unlikely that the original owner will plant a tree on the other side of the property line. So that's my two concerns, and that's two concerns about that. The second is, as my understanding is, there got to be, for this board to review, there got to be a story pool set up. Before I come in here, I actually went to the site, well, because it's right outdoor. And the story pools are not completed. The incomplete story pools, there's no netting, right? And that story pools for the garage, which are actually close to the property line, there's nothing there. So it's all empty. So it's very difficult to see and imagine what the structure will look like from the current standpoint.
Okay, thank you. All right, and we'll call it Brian Milner.
Good morning. My name is Brian Milner. My residence is immediately south of the subject property, which means it's downhill from the property. And so most of my concerns, as I've outlined in an email sent earlier, that have to do with the stability of the hill that's above my property and the drainage associated with any obviously any rainfall, but also just general irrigation. Anything that would flow downhill would affect my property. I won't repeat the things that I submitted in writing, but I will highlight a couple of things. One is that there's a substantial amount of grading associated with this project, even though it's been reduced from the original proposal. So that raises concerns about the stability of the hill and how the changes in grading, cutting, filling, and putting structures up there and impermeable surfaces is going to change the flow of water and the stability of the hill. My position would be trust but verify on this, but my confidence is not high at this point because there's been some preliminary work done on the site already to install a retaining wall, which apparently, as far as I know, was not done with any engineering or study of stability. And I believe the original wall was outside of what was allowed without a permit. It was not permitted. The height of the wall was reduced to comply, I think, but there's a significant amount of backfill installed behind that wall, which I believe should have been done with some proper oversight. And I don't see any evidence that that was done. And I believe the amount of backfill is in excess of 50 cubic yards, which was the threshold for having a permit done on that. So it's because of that early work that causes me to have doubts about the process going forward. And I'm just asking that there be due diligence done on all the parties, on the parties that are wanting to execute this project, as well as the government agencies who are supposed to be reviewing and ensuring that proper procedures are followed.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on to comments from the board, but just to mitigate the, we did questions before. You have more? Okay. We'll come back to questions in a second. I just want to mitigate the concern about the property line, because property lines are a legal staked survey and that'll be required for construction. And so there won't be any kind of anecdotal conversation around it. It'll just be staked for it's a legal survey. So, all right, we'll move on to questions, back to questions from the board.
Madam Chair, I have a question for the applicant. Quickly, was a licensed professional surveyor used to establish the survey that I see on sheet, well, on the other sheets, but on specifically on sheet C1?
Yes.
And is that the same survey that we're seeing on the other sheets in the landscape drawings and our architectural site plans?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions.
I just have a question just so we can address one of the comments,
Question,
but just so you guys have a chance to address it, where is there existing wall that you guys had built and where was that roughly?
Yeah, there's a rock wall on the very south property line.
Okay.
Oh,
I see. Okay, the south, like west.
They're very south. No, all the way down on the
Yeah, along the property.
if you zoom in a little bit more, Jonathan, you can see it there.
You know the approximate height?
It's under, what is it? Under 3 feet?
Yeah, there was a couple sections that were just over the 3-foot limit. So I worked it out with a county inspector. They originally red tagged me because it was just a little too high. So we reduced it and he cleared everything.
Okay, and then, thank you. And then the other question was regard to drainage, but you guys are, from the south elevation, you guys are actually coming up a little slope and then going back downhill, right? So you guys, when you're looking out of your bottom floor, you're actually seeing a little slope elevation.
That's correct.
And I imagine the drainage is kind of bold in that area essentially. So it's kind of anything from the house is being caught at that point.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Did I hear there was a civil?
And did you do story polls?
What I did is I had done a meeting a year and a half ago with the original submittal, invited a bunch of the neighbors to come and look at everything, see if anybody had questions. And then at that point, we were changing the scope of the project and working with planning. And so we had a long pause. And so as we had our updated plan, I sent out another letter with the cover sheet to all the neighbors, along with, the noticing that they got from you guys, and asked for anybody that had any questions or wanted to see the plans further to reach out to me. A couple neighbors did, and the Davises, who are just up the hill from us, had the greatest concerns. So they asked for me to put up the corner property or the corner of the house that would be most visible by them. So I did that this last week at their request. But I did not hear anything else from any other neighbors requesting any other story polls or input, but I was willing to do it for kind of just being a good neighbor.
Did we put all of the public comment letters on screen? All right, we had closed public comment, but we can reopen it. Okay. Just to clarify, this is not a back and forth conversation with public comment. So if these are new concerns, I can open up public comment, but it's not going to be to respond to additional questions from the board.
Sorry, I don't mean to butcher your name, but can you, you have 3 minutes for your public comment?
Yeah, Qing Yu, yeah. My husband has spoken. We own the property adjacent to the Corey's property, and I just want to add to the aesthetics. I'm out of town, so I haven't talked to Corey for quite a while. And last time I talked to him, he said he's going to put a fence along the driveway. And to Corey, this fence would be his side yard, but for us, because it's a cul-de-sac, it's actually our front yard. So I would like to see planting, to soften the look. And I haven't looked at the plan because I'm not really an architect, so I don't know what the current plan is, if a fence is still going to be built. The reason the property line is a big issue is because if Corey puts up a fence, there's hardly any space for us to do any planting. So that would be that would not be the norm for our neighborhood because our neighborhood has fairly big lots. They are mostly like half an acre. Corey's lot is even bigger. So so we all use natural planting to separate our properties. So that is something that I would like the board to consider. Thank you. That's all.
Madam
Thank you
Chair,
so much.
I'd like to address the hearing for a second. We're not going to tolerate any shouting from the audience. If you want, this is a public hearing and we have rules. If you want to speak, you can address the chair at the podium and pull a speaker slip and speak, but we're not going to tolerate any yelling and screaming from the audience. Thank you.
All right, we're going to close public comment and move on to comments from the board. Start with Josh. Would you like to start on this one?
So I'll first address the survey. I don't have any reason to doubt the accuracy of the survey at this point. So I'm going to assume that what we're looking at is professionally prepared documents, and my review of this looks like a very professionally presented project and well documented to start with. So in terms of neighborhood compatibility, just surveying the aerial photos and looking at this on Google Earth and from the documents submitted by the architect, it appears to be a rather dense neighborhood, residential. So in terms of compatibility, the project seems totally compatible with that in terms of density. I think it's an impossibility to put any kind of restriction on a new home in this neighborhood with the idea that nobody would see it from any other adjacent property. Obviously, everybody in that neighborhood has some view of somebody else's property or structure. So in terms of compatibility, that certainly seems like compatibility to me. This isn't doing anything different than the other homes in the neighborhood. There was comment on the square footage. I think it's a reasonable square footage for a new home in this area. It's maybe larger, but than a few of the homes surrounding it, but it's certainly not outside of the boundaries of what would be considered an incompatible scale and size. Second, just from a mass bulk and scale and from a siting standpoint, the project seems to be very well designed in terms of massing, bulk and scale, and again, not incompatible with the neighborhood or the site. It's well sited. It's very well landed on a slope, and the usual things that we're looking for to mitigate a house on a slope like this have been fairly well done. In terms of architectural style, the architectural style is very acceptable. It's very well presented and well detailed and well designed. So it's a very nice looking home. I don't see any real issues with it. I'll defer to detail on the landscape or landscape architects, but I think the driveway, hardscape, and the general orientation of the site is done well, and it follows a lot of the best practices we like to follow. I'd like to see, as a comment, perhaps on the lower part of the site where we have hardscape, maybe look at doing a softer approach there. There's a lot of hardscape there, but perhaps like a permeable material might be wise choice there, or maybe some additional planters to break that up, not over cover the site. But other than that, I'm fairly happy with what I'm seeing. So compatibility, mass bulk and scale, architectural scale, all seem very acceptable to me. I think it's a well-documented, well-designed project, fully support it. I'd also like to thank the neighbors for coming out and expressing their concerns. I heard everything, and I understand what you're concerned with, but some of the things I agree with and some I don't. With regard to the concerns about water migration or water flow on the site and so on and so forth, this board doesn't have the expertise, or nor do we review hydrology on sites. That'll be a matter for the plan checkers and the building and safety department to look at if needed. We won't be able to address that, but I understand the concern, and I think it's a valid concern that there should be some effort to make sure that any water moving across this property doesn't adversely affect the neighbors. And so to the gentleman that was concerned about that, you should probably take that up with the building department when this gets into the building and safety phase, and make sure that they're doing their full due diligence on this to make sure that the property manages itself properly and doesn't adversely affect neighbors. So I think that covers most of what we heard from public comment and from the applicant. So again, I'm supportive of the project that's currently proposed.
Val?
I agree with those comments. I think it's carefully designed. I think there's been a lot of time and effort put into working with the neighborhood and bringing down the grading quantities substantially, decreasing the square footage. I think it's always difficult when there's been a vacant site because it looks like anything is an invasion, right? I think having 19 feet of fill on the property is a huge challenge that you're having to contend with. And I think you're finding solutions to work with that. I'd also like to reassure the neighbors that we expect that there will be a level of civil engineering on this that's very careful for addressing water flow and stormwater management, and that in some ways it will be more taken care of than it is now in its native state, even though that seems hard to picture. The rules and regulations have come a very long way for stormwater management of keeping your drainage controlled and contained. So, you can, as concerned neighbors, continue to pay attention to that, but I expect that this is going to be addressed very carefully. I think it would be, I'd like to hear what the landscape architects say about trying to do sensitive screening, more hedging than hard fences if possible. So I think that's it for my comments, that it's carefully executed, and I think that it's going to be a very nice project.
Okay, Alex?
Well, I agree with all of the comments. This board really concerns itself with basic size and height. Those are comments that we can address. Hill stability, drainage, property line, CCNRs. Those are things that this board does not concern itself with. I think it's a well-designed project. The drawings are finely done, and I understand that like my colleague said, the site is vacant, and then you see something there, and I can see how that's yeah, because it's It's a concern, of course, but this appears to be, well, in the concept, this is a concept review. This project is going in the right direction. That's all I can say. It's and it will, this is a civil plan. There's a you know, all these issues will be addressed by the different boards and the different different staff. And I think this project is going in the right direction. Thank you.
Quickly add to that the property, the project will be located with an official surveyor. There will be no just haphazard measuring for locating the structure on the site. So that should not be a concern.
Robert?
I mean, I agree with the positive comments that this is a pretty large site with a modestly sized house when you compare the size of the site compared to the house. You know, they've limited the development to one portion of it, which makes sense. So it's not affecting the slopes and significantly affecting any drainage patterns or any of that. So I think the approach makes sense. In terms of the landscape design, I'm in support of it. I mean, I think it's reasonable to want to have a fence and hedging along the side of your property for privacy and security. So I don't see any reason to suggest otherwise. One, I guess I would agree with Josh that maybe there's some opportunities to try to break up some of that paving there. That's on the so would that be the south side of the house? But I know you're dealing with high fire area and the zone 0 requirement. So I just double checked that with, I don't think you're allowed to have plants within 5 feet of the house with the zone 0. At least that's been my experience with moving stuff through. So just, that would be a comment for the landscape plan, just double check that. But I think that the composition of trees on the sides of the house and this screening proposed is appropriate, and plant palette seems appropriate, and I'm generally in support of it, so.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, I echo a lot of those comments. I think the building's really well sited and benched into the slope and kind of all the things that we recommend doing, the county. In regards to landscape, I think it's really well conceived. I think maybe the only comment is maybe, can we go to, oh, there we go. Just the wall that separates the different levels, that the big 9-foot wall seems a little harsh, and like you're really separating the backyard into different levels and not really an opportunity to connect the two. I'm wondering if there's another way to soften that approach, but that's just one comment for the hardscape. Maybe there's a way that it could be naturalized, or yeah, the landscape plan, just the south wall that kind of dissects the backyard. It seems a little harsh, and just wondering if there's a way to soften that, but I don't know how the other board didn't mention it. So and then in regards to the screening, I think the neighbor to the, I guess it'd be west, is the primary concern, seems like. I don't think you guys should be precluded from doing a fence and also a hedge. I think that you should be entitled to have your right to have a fence between neighbors in maybe this situation. You know, I think they should have an opportunity to screen their side as well. So it seems like you guys are addressing that with a ficus hedge. I don't know. I mean, maybe what it is there's not enough context. Like it's hard to see where that house is. So I think when you come back, showing the neighbors on your east and west would be really helpful. And then it may, you know, it may be good to have some type of tree or something between the proposed outdoor kitchen and them. But I think just maybe alleviating some of their concerns about what they're actually looking at would be helpful. So I don't know if that's a section or elevation or something that helps alleviate that. Because I don't think that this project should require story poles just because of its one-story nature on the street side and how you guys are really dug in, especially on the south side where you guys come up. It seems like it's really well sited. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay. I agree with all the previous comments. My one addition is that I believe there will be required trenching, looking at the civil plan, going down slope to the bioretention basin or the gravel basin at the bottom. So some of the concerns around drainage, I think, can be mitigated that way. It's at a conceptual level, so I'm sure it's going to have to get its final sizing and everything. But because of that trenching and basin, you may want to expand your landscape scope just to put that slope back together once you're doing the trenching and the basin. So it's kind of twofold. I think those concerns are being addressed, and then also just to encompass that into the landscape plan. I'm not clear if there's a view to is that directionally south-ish? But if there's not, there's a few existing trees, but maybe additional trees for additional root system if it's that steep of a slope, just for additional stabilization. But it sounds like that is to come in the next layer of landscape plans. With that, this project is here for conceptual review. Does the board want to see it for just prelim or prelim final, depending? It's here for conceptual right now. Just preliminary. Yeah. Big enough development. Yeah. Okay. All right. So with those comments, you guys can return prelim full board. We'll see you on your return.
Thank you so much.
All right, last item of the day, item 6, GKW Holdings alterations, request of Tom Oxner, architect for GKW Holdings LLC, here for conceptual review of a remodel, a 121 square foot demolition to the 2,632 square foot single family dwelling and a new swimming pool. The following structures exist: the 2,632 square foot residence, 508 square foot 2-car garage. The proposed project will require approximately 188 cubic yards of cut and 188 fill. It's on a 1.2 acre parcel located at 1066 Via Los Padres in the Eastern Goleta Valley Community Plan area. Applicant's not here yet. Sounds good. We'll recess for 3 minutes. All right, so motion to continue item 6.
I'll make that motion.
Second the motion?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and that concludes our Aspire hearing for June 5th.
Yes, we are adjourned.